Have you ever wondered why the more someone chases after spiritual power to fulfill their worldly desires, the more chaos seems to follow? Have you noticed that when people use sacred practices to seek fame, money, or recognition, their lives often become more turbulent instead of more peaceful? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will uncover a lesser-known truth that many spiritual seekers avoid facing. When spiritual practices are driven by attachment to fame and fortune, the very energies we invoke may turn into our greatest obstacles. This is not a superstition. It's not about punishment. It's about the law of cause and effect, a law that governs not just the material world, but the spiritual path as well. The story we'll reflect on today is based on the teachings of Elder Master Jinghui, a respected monk who offered profound insights into the hidden dangers of misusing spiritual power. He warned that when one's motivation is impure, when devotion is contaminated by greed, pride, or craving for recognition, then even sacred practices can become traps. Let us begin with a simple truth. Every action generates a consequence. This includes chanting, meditation, and offerings. If your intention is sincere, rooted in compassion and clarity, the fruit of your practice will nourish you and others. But if your intention is tainted, if you recite sutras to get rich, or donate to temples just to gain favor, then the karma you plant is unstable. The fruit may appear sweet, but it carries poison within. This is what Elder Jinghui called the hidden cost of spiritual materialism. He described how some practitioners become obsessed with spiritual performance, chanting louder, attending more rituals, offering more incense, not out of love for the Dharma, but to impress others or manipulate outcomes. These people may see short-term results. They may get the job they wanted, the money they prayed for, or the fame they dreamed of. But soon something shifts. The peace they thought they had gained begins to crack. Their relationships become unstable. Their mind becomes agitated. Their practice becomes a performance. Their devotion becomes a transaction. And eventually, the blessings they chase turn into burdens. Why does this happen? Because spiritual power is not neutral. It magnifies whatever is inside you. If your heart is pure, the energy you summon will uplift. If your heart is corrupt, the energy you channel will distort. Let me share a story that illustrates this truth. A businessman once became deeply interested in Buddhist mantras. He heard that chanting a specific mantra could bring wealth and protection. So he began chanting daily, not to awaken, not to purify his mind, but to make his business grow. First, things went well. He landed new clients. His revenue increased. He felt invincible. But soon problems began to emerge. His employees became disloyal. His family grew distant. He developed anxiety. He chanted harder, thinking the mantras had stopped working. In reality, they were working perfectly. They were revealing the truth of his mind. Eventually, he met a monk who said, "You have turned a medicine into poison by misunderstanding its purpose." Those words broke him open. He took a break from business. He entered a retreat center. And for the first time, he chanted not for profit but for peace. Years later, he rebuilt his company with different values: compassion, ethics, balance. His wealth returned, but more importantly, so did his clarity. This is the path of transformation. But not everyone is willing to walk it. Master Jinghui observed that the root of this spiritual distortion is ego. The ego wants to be seen as powerful. It wants guarantees. It wants to control the universe through devotion. But true spirituality is about surrender, not control. About service, not manipulation. About dissolving the ego, not feeding it. The Buddha never promised wealth or fame. He promised liberation. He taught that suffering comes from attachment, and that includes attachment to success, miracles, and even spiritual experiences. Let us talk about another danger: the projection of spiritual superiority. Some people begin to believe that because they chant mantras or perform rituals, they are more evolved than others. They look down on those who don't practice. They become rigid, judgmental, even arrogant. This is spiritual pride. one of the most toxic forms of delusion. Elder Jinghui warned, "A person who boasts of their cultivation is like a person who lights incense while holding poison in their other hand." In other words, the external show of practice means nothing if the inner work is not done. In fact, it's worse than nothing. It can become a shield that blocks growth. So what is the antidote? It is humility. It is remembering that the path is not a ladder you climb, but a mirror you polish. It is remembering that every mantra, every prayer, every vow should point you back to your own delusions, not to glorify them, but to release them. Another story illustrates this beautifully. A young man went to a monastery to learn a powerful dharni that was rumored to bring invincibility. The monk who received him asked, "Why do you want this mantra?" The man replied, "To protect myself from enemies and grow my power." The monk smiled and said, "Very well, I will teach you." But instead of the dharni, the monk gave him a broom and told him to sweep the courtyard. Days passed. Weeks. The young man grew frustrated. "When will you teach me the mantra?" The monk answered, "Each stroke of the broom is the mantra. When you learn to sweep with love, with presence, with no trace of pride, then the mantra will be alive in you." The young man stayed. He swept. He served. He softened. Years later, when he finally learned the dharni, he realized he didn't need it to feel invincible. He had already found his true strength in humility and selflessness. This is the real miracle of spiritual practice, not gaining power, but losing illusion. When we chase fame and fortune through the Dharma, we reduce the sacred to a tool. But when we let go of our agenda, the Dharma transforms us in ways that fame and fortune never could. You may still earn wealth. You may still be respected. But these become byproducts, not goals. Your true wealth becomes wisdom. Your true fame becomes your compassion. So let us ask ourselves honestly, why am I practicing? What am I hoping to gain? What am I afraid to lose? Am I using the Dharma, or is the Dharma using me to awaken itself? These questions may be uncomfortable, but they are liberating. They return us to the core of the Buddha's teaching. Freedom through understanding. Thank you for watching this video. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to reflect in the comments. What have you learned about the hidden costs of attachment? How has your own spiritual journey changed over time? Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to continue walking this path with us. See you in the next video.